Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 118 based on novel. So let's start. Senior, the one in the back is the Shang clan's shop. That is not a place someone can simply enter, so there will be people patrolling. Before Li Dan-nan could finish speaking, waves of blue ripples appeared out of thin air and spread toward Wang Lin. Incomer, stop! A cold and arrogant voice came from the void. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he raised his hand and casually waved it. A gust wind suddenly appeared, creating a sharp shrill as it rushed toward the blue ripples. You! The voice suddenly became higher, but as the gust of wind closed in, the blue ripples collapsed. The blue light quickly regathered itself 100 feet from Wang Lin into a young man in blue. He stared at Wang Lin with an ugly expression. Li Danan's eyes lit up. He had been in Mingmai City for a long time and came to the northern part twice before. Although there were people patrolling the northern city, something like this has never happened before someone even entered. Wang Lin's expression still remained calm. This young man's cultivation level wasn't low. Although he was not at the soul transformation stage like Wang Lin, he was half a step into it and was in the process absorbing celestial spiritual energy. This person had enough celestial spiritual energy to reach the soul transformation stage, but he decided to go with the second method of breaking through just like Wang Lin did. As a result, once he has enough celestial jades and breaks through, his progression through the soul transformation stage will be a lot easier. This young man looked at Wang Lin, coldly snorted, and said, "Scram!" A hint of coldness appeared in Wang Lin's eyes and he took one step forward. After fusing with his original body and fighting with Sichu Nan for a month, his combat experience had increased by a lot. Now he was simply too fast. In the blink of an eye, Wang Lin crossed 100 feet. With one punch, his fist created a large amount of force. There weren't any sonic booms, but countless cracks appeared in the air as if the space was collapsing. The young man's expression changed greatly. He didn't think an early-stage soul transformation cultivator could throw such a powerful punch. This kind of attack was something even a peak early-stage soul transformation cultivator would need to put all their effort into to negate, and if there was any mistake, they would be seriously injured. He wanted to retreat, but his body seemed to be restricted by an invisible force and he couldn't move an inch. He could only watch as the fist grew larger before him. A drop of cold sweat dripped down from the tip of his nose, but his eyes were still calm without a hint of panic. He clearly knew Wang Lin's cultivation level and yet he dared to act so arrogantly. This meant he either had an amazing cultivation method or amazing status. Stop! A faint sound came from the third shop followed by a green light. Inside the green light was only a teacup, but it flew at an unimaginable speed and was filled with celestial spiritual energy. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His left hand formed a seal and celestial spiritual energy gathered on the tip of his finger. He pointed at the cup and drew a circle as he said, "Star rotation." As Wang Lin's finger moved, the arc began to turn solid until it was a circle. Once the circle was complete, it shot toward the teacup. The speed of the teacup slowed down and its direction changed along with the rotation of the circle. In the end, it curved around Wang Lin. A sound of surprise came from inside the shop. Wang Lin's right fist moved as fast as lightning and landed on the space before the young man. The young man's face immediately turned red and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. His eyes dimmed as he stumbled back a few steps, then his body trembled and he coughed out another mouthful of blood. His body trembled violently as white celestial spiritual energy came out from the pores of his body like crazy. In the blink of an eye, there was no celestial spiritual energy left in his body. You wasted my celestial foundation." The young man's face was no longer red but as white as a dead man's. Wang Lin's punch didn't kill this person but wasted all of his celestial foundation. This was basically knocking the young man from the edge of the soul transformation stage back to soul formation. Wang Lin withdrew his fist, put his hands behind his back, and calmly looked at the shop that threw the teacup at him. The spell Star Rotation was a spell Sichu Nan taught him. If it was the him from back on Suzaku, he would have taken out one of his treasures already, But after training with Situ Nan for a month, he no longer needed to rely on his treasures. For a real powerful cultivator, magical treasures are only there to support them. What makes cultivators really scary are their spells. If the magical treasure is very powerful, like a mid-quality or higher celestial treasure, then those are exceptions. This was something Situ Nan once told Wang Lin. This brother has good techniques. May I know what your name is? A calm voice came from the shop, and after that a tall and straight figure followed it. This was a tall young man. He had sharp eyebrows and dark eyes. These eyes were like the stars, making it impossible for people to see through him. Just him standing there caused the space around him to ripple. He had clearly reached the peak of the mid-stage of soul transformation. This was the reason he was emitting celestial spiritual energy. Wang Lin turned his head and looked at this person. His expression remained calm as he slowly said, "Wang Lin. Wang Lin. I'm Bai Wei." The young man waved his hand and a white fan appeared in his grasp. This gave him the appearance of a handsome prince. Not far away, the young man whose celestial foundation was wasted by Wang Lin had an extremely pale expression. He walked up to the shop while staring viciously at Wang Lin and maliciously said, "My lord, kill him." Bai Wei frowned. He turned around and said, "You don't have the right to speak here. Leave." The young man was startled. He looked at Bai Wei and then at Wang Lin and revealed a strange expression. He let out a snort but no longer spoke. Wang Lin's expression remained the same. Although this person's name was a bit feminine, Wang Lin was able to immediately tell that this person was male and not female. "Brother Wang, my servant was rude. I hope you didn't take offense. I'm from planet Tianyun and I belong to the Heavenly Fate sect. Where is Brother Wang from?" Bai Wei gently smiled as if all the unhappiness from before disappeared like smoke. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light and he said, "I'm a wanderer, I don't have a sect." Bai Wei smiled and shook his head. "Since Brother Wang doesn't want to speak, then I won't force it. However, if Brother Wang has time in the future, you must come to planet Tianyun so I can have the honor of being the host." Wang Lin nodded, clasped his hands, and walked past the two. Li Danan's heart was beating rapidly as he quickly followed. He was afraid that if he is too slow and something unpredictable happened, he would get hurt. Bai Wei's eyes kept tracking Wang Lin's figure and revealed a strange light. He put away the fan as he slapped his right hand and said, "The mountains have trees and trees have branches, the heart pleases the Lord and the Lord doesn't know." The young man who had his celestial foundation wasted looked at Bai Wei. The strangeness in his eyes deepened. It wasn't until Wang Lin's figure disappeared into the last store that Bai Wei withdrew his gaze. He looked at his servant on the side and smiled. "It is only celestial foundation. Once this lord returns to planet Tianyun, I'll just give it to you again." With that, he walked back into the third store. The thing he was looking for wasn't rare, but after checking all 9 stores, he only found it in the third store. Normally, wherever Bai Wei was present, no others were allowed to be there. This kind of arrogance rubbed off on his servant and that was why his servant prevented Wang Lin from entering the northern city. Wang Lin walked into the Shang clan's shop. This place seemed like a grand and luxurious palace no matter where one looked. There were a total of 999 statues carved from spirit stone all around. Thick spiritual energy rushed over to them. Li Dannan was completely shocked when he felt it. He had never seen anything like this in his life, especially the dense spiritual energy. It was denser here than in any place he had ever been. After hesitating for a bit, Li Dannan no longer cared about Wang Lin but sat down and began to cultivate. Wang Lin examined the spirit stone carvings before him. All of them were carvings of women and all of them were different, but the one thing they had in common was that they were all extremely beautiful. Inside the hands of each of those spirit stone carvings was a box. Inside the boxes were magical treasure, pills, and anything else you could think of. At this moment, a crisp laughter came from the void. Shortly after, a voluptuous and beautiful woman came down from the stairs. Her eyes looked toward Wang Lin. This woman was wearing a snow-white dress with 9 mandara flowers embroidered on the edges with silver threads. The contrast with the snow-white dress made it very eye-catching. Her silk-like black hair casually flowed behind her head. 3 light purple crystal hairpins held her hair up, leaving only 2 strands of purple hair to gently sway in the breeze. There were 3 thin, pinky-sized pieces of faintly purple accessories that were as thin as cicada wings under her left eye. The light reflecting off them made her as beautiful as a painting. "Fellow cultivator, welcome to the Shong clan's store." The woman's voice was like the chirping of a songbird. This woman's beauty was absolute, but what caught Wang Lin's attention was the thin accessory under her left eye. With his insight, he naturally was able to see that the thin accessory was a magical treasure. Even the 9 mandara flowers were extremely rare magical treasures as well. Even the 3 hairpins on her head were magical treasures. Her body was filled with magical treasures. It did indeed show just how rich this place was. Wang Lin didn't waste any time and calmly asked, "Does this store have snow ink?" After leaving the shop, Wang Lin gave Li Dan Nan 10 high-quality spirit stones and left Ming Mai City. The Shong clan shop did indeed have snow ink, but the price was simply outrageous. Wang Lin calculated that with all the spirit stones that he had, he could only get 2 or 3 drops. This kind of price was beyond Wang Lin's expectations. He didn't think that snow ink was a top-quality material in the cultivation world. The ancient gods could travel from one planet to another to search for snow ink, making it very simple. But for cultivators, snow ink was simply too scarce. From what he heard from the woman, snow ink was very good for nourishing one's soul. If one had a few drops while possessing a body, then the speed of possession would increase several-fold. If one were to have some in their mouth when their origin soul leaves their body, then it could prevent one's origin soul from being destroyed even when seriously injured. One would be able to at least return to one's body. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he found a cliff outside of Ming Mai City and sat down in the lotus position. His divine sense spread out and slowly called for Sichu Nan. Shortly after, Sichu Nan responded. Wang Lin sent out a message, "Ming Mai City, the Shong clan's shop. I want the snow ink." Sichu Nan began to laugh and then cut off the connection. There was a total of 9 cities on this trade planet. In 3 days of time, heaven-shaking news spread out. The Heaven and Earth city was robbed. This person had very good insight and took all the top-quality treasures. Most of them were the shop's main treasures. Even the shops with backgrounds were robbed. Even the city lord's mansion was robbed. It would be fine if it was only one city, but in the next 3 days, all 9 cities, including Ming Mai City, were robbed by this mysterious person. This person's cultivativation was extremely powerful. Even when attacked by multiple cultivators, he had no problem. Finally, in the end, 5 ascendant cultivators from the 9 cities got together to kill this mysterious person. This fight shocked everyone. However, all 5 ascendant cultivators were forced to retreat. And the mysterious person calmly left. This kind of power was only obtainable in the legendary illusory yin, corporeal yang, and nirvana scrya stages. As a result, he moved like a swarm of locusts. No one dared to mess with him or obstruct him. Wang Lin sat on the cliff for 3 days, looking at Ming Mai City. On the night of the 3rd day, Wang Lin revealed a faint smile as he took out the straw hat and put it on his head. In the distance, a figure flew over like lightning, and behind him countless cultivators that seemed to cover the sky chased closely after. Among the people chasing, there were 8 people who were extremely quick. They pulled ahead of everyone else and continued to chase. Sichu Nan arrogantly laughed. "Ha ha, you little brats, why are you chasing this old man? I'm not a woman. Annoy me and I'll go steal from all of you again." At the moment Sichu Nan passed the cliff Wang Lin was on, Sichu Nan reached out. A powerful force grabbed Wang Lin and Wang Lin moved like a meteor next to Sichu Nan. Sichu Nan touched his bag of holding and laughed. This old man's harvest was good. Let us go. With that, he quickly flew off with Wang Lin. "Stay, you mad thief!" Waves of angry roars came from behind Sichu Nan. "Unless this old man's brain was damaged, why would I obediently stay like you all want me to? However, this old man will try to learn from you all once, so don't chase, you little brats." Sichu Nan laughed out loud as he moved like lightning with Wang Lin. They broke through the atmosphere and turned into two rays of light in the darkness of space. The shops on this trade planet have very deep backgrounds. If they send some experts over, it will be hard even for this old man to deal with them. I stole from them quickly so that they don't have time to call for help. Yi Wuyo and I did this kind of thing a lot in the past. Sichu Nan felt very proud. After they entered space, Wang Lin took out the star compass and the two of them quickly left. The cultivators of the trade planet chased for a while and then gave up. After all, not many people had a star compass, and Sichu Nan's cultivativation was simply too powerful. Even if they barely managed to catch up, they would only be throwing away their lives. Did you get my snow ink? Wang Lin licked his lips. Although he didn't join, the snow ink was something he asked for, so he was also associated with this. Sichu Nan laughed and took out a small bottle. He threw it at Wang Lin and said, "For you. There are about 2 or 3 drops in there." After throwing the bottle, Sichu Nan began to check his spoils of war. As he checked them, he revealed a proud smile. "Ha ha, not bad. The harvest this time is several times better than before." When Wang Lin took the bag and scanned it with his divine sense, his eyes lit up. Wang Lin secretly decided something in his heart. This kind of stealing isn't bad. If I have the opportunity in the future, I must steal like this as well. Outer space wasn't completely dark, sometimes there were many colorful lights and objects out in the nothingness. The beauty of it would cause most people's hearts to tremble with just one look. Half a month later, a massive nebula that looked like a jellyfish appeared before Wang Lin. Sichu Nan looked at the nebula and sighed. "I have to leave now." Wang Lin pondered a bit, then he silently looked at the brilliant nebula and asked, "Do you have enough magical treasures?" Sichu Nan laughed and said, "Still not enough, but I'm going to kill my way there and steal along the way. When I get there, I'll have enough." With that, he pointed at the nebula and said, "I have been here before with Yi Wuyo. It is time for us to split. Where I'm going is very far from planet Tianyun. We will split up and go our own ways." As Sichu Nan spoke, he slapped his bag of holding and a white light flew out of it. The light turned into a large sword. Sichu Nan jumped on the sword, turned around, and said, "Wang Lin, planet Tianyun is filled with strangers and you don't know the place, so be careful. However, you can't forget your pride as a cultivator of planet Suzaku. If you have any problems, come find me on planet Phone 1. With this old man around, no one will dare to mess with you." Wang Lin looked at the nebula. He still hadn't looked at Sichu Nan as he said, "If you have any problems, come and find me on planet Tianyun. With me there, no one will dare to touch you." Sichu Nan laughed and said, "Good. Wang Lin, if I ever have trouble in the future, I'll come and find you. However, if your place is too small, I'm not coming over. No matter what, you must create a sect on planet Tianyun, and I'll come and be the head elder for you." With that, Sichu Nan took a deep breath and took another look at Wang Lin. For the first time, he talked to Wang Lin in a soft voice and said, "Wang Lin, take care." With that, the sword under him lit up and he disappeared, leaving only a trail of light. "Sichu, take care." Wang Lin turned his head toward where Sichu Nan disappeared. In the vast space, only he remained, silently watching. After a long time, Wang Lin let out a sigh and felt melancholy. Ever since he stepped into the cultivation world, Sichu Nan had been with him, and he owed Sichu Nan a lot. Although Sichu Nan was sleeping for a long period of time, Wang Lin could clearly feel Sichu Nan's existence through the heaven-defying bead. In his eyes, Sichu Nan was no different than a teacher. This time, it was a true goodbye between them. The melancholy in his heart was very strong. "I wonder if we'll meet again in our lifetime." Wang Lin silently stood there for a long time. He then knelt down on the star compass and kowtowed 3 times toward where Sichu Nan went. "I, Wang Lin, have never in my life bowed to the heavens or earth, and I don't pay my respects to ghosts or gods. I only bow to my parents and to show respect to Sichu." Wang Lin looked up, suppressed the melancholy in his heart, and the star compass flew off into the distance. His direction was the opposite of Sichu Nan's, and they moved farther and farther apart. After Wang Lin left, a white light appeared where the two of them were. Sichu Nan's figure appeared. He looked at Wang Lin and let out a sigh. Without cruel trials, one can't be considered a real cultivator. Wang Lin, the reason I took you down the demonic path is because the demonic path is the best one for staying alive. After you created an avatar, you walked out of the demonic path and created your own path. I can no longer be around you because this old man is a demon inside and out. Sichu Nan took a deep glance at where Wang Lin went and muttered, "Little friend, farewell." He let out a long sigh and disappeared in a flash of white light. Space was very large, so if one didn't have a star map, they would be lost and possibly lost for life. The All-Seer left a very detailed star map for Wang Lin that marked how to get from planet Suzaku to planet Qianyun. Wang Lin sat in the lotus position on the star compass and quickly traveled to planet Qianyun. During this time, Wang Lin wasn't idle. He spent the time using the Voidwood Stone and Snow Ink to refine the star compass once more with the ancient god's secret technique. The process wasn't fast, it went on for the whole trip. The star compass was now covered by a green light. Inside the green light, one could see countless branches moving and warping around the star compass. This was the mysterious substance refined from the Voidwood Stone. This process lasted 3 months. 3 months of time was only enough for the fusion between the Voidwood Stone and the star compass to reach small completion. Ancient gods didn't care about time, so when they refined a treasure, the process usually lasted at least 100 years. A 9-star ancient god would take 1,000 years to refine a treasure. These 1,000 years would pass as quickly as a flick of one's finger. Wang Lin calculated and found that at this rate, it wouldn't be done even by the time he arrived on planet Qianyun. After pondering a bit, he decided to give up farther integration and used the Snow Ink to begin the final refining process at this small completion stage. Several more months passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, a ray of silver light flew across the void. The ray of silver light looked like a dragon, moving through space without any obstruction. There was a person standing on this ray of silver light. This person had a head of long hair flowing behind him, a pair of proud eyes, his facial features were sharp, and his clothes were flapping loudly as if there was a powerful wind blowing on him. This person's skin was dark and gave people a sense of spirit. It was filled with deep vitality. He was Wang Lin. The journey toward planet has been going for Qianyun over half a year. During this half a year, Wang Lin changed a lot. His skin was no longer as white as it was back on planet Suzaku, but a bit darker. This was due to a mysterious force among the stars. As for the silver dragon, it was the star compass after it was refined. With ancient god 2-size memories, he used a special technique along with the Voidwood Stone to change its structure and complete the fusion with the Snow Ink. All of this caused a mysterious change. As for the silver dragon shape, it was an ancient creature called Chiohi from the ancient god's memories. This creature's speed was very quick, so the compass used its shape to gain some of its speed. Although it couldn't compare to the real creature, the compass reached an unimaginable speed. According to ancient god 2-size memories, the real star compass would need the blood of a Chiohi as an activator to pull out the full potential of the star compass. At this moment, the silver dragon under Wang Lin wasn't any slower than an ascendant cultivator. The silver light shined in space as it disappeared into the distance. Time flew by, and another half-year passed. Wang Lin has been traveling through space by himself for over a year. During this year, Wang Lin saw a lot. At the start, he paid close attention to everything, but now he simply glanced at things when he passed by them. He was getting closer and closer to planet Qianyun. Wang Lin calculated the distance based on the map in his head. Right now he was halfway there. Along the way, Wang Lin saw countless planets. Some of the planets had cultivators, some were abandoned, and some were filled with powerful and vicious auras. Aside from these, Wang Lin saw plain robbery. There was a group of people that was rejected by all cultivators. They were called fringe cultivators. These cultivators spent most of their time in space, and none of them were weak. They would steal from any cultivators they came across. Along the way, Wang Lin met a few, But these people were all very experienced in detecting cultivation levels, so none of them dared to come and stop Wang Lin. But there was one unskilled fringe cultivator that was also at the early stage of soul transformation who attacked Wang Lin. He escaped far away after being heavily injured by Wang Lin. The weak couldn't survive in space, so Wang Lin no longer hid his aura, he released it all its full power, especially the killing intent from his original body. This killing intent formed a large aura and moved like a gust of cold wind, causing people's hearts to tremble. As a result, when fringe cultivators saw Wang Lin, they would move far away and not casually mess with him. Just like that, Wang Lin continued to fly. He was like a primordial beast descending from the heavens. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, another year passed. On this day, Wang Lin stood on the silver dragon. Before him was a star system surrounded by a green light. There was a giant, dark purple planet in this system. There were many lights coming from the planet, making it look like a giant crystal. It was very beautiful. Around this large planet were 5 smaller planets that orbited the main planet. Outside of that were some smaller planets scattered around. They all emitted waves of spiritual energy fluctuations. It was obvious that there were restrictions placed on them. Excitement filled Wang Lin's heart as his gaze locked onto the purple planet. This was the location the All-Seer left him, planet Chen Yun. At this moment, in Wang Lin's eyes, planet Chen Yun was too large. In comparison, planet Suzaku was simply too small. And at this moment, even here he could feel the dense spiritual energy coming from the planet. If he were to step on the planet, the density of the spiritual energy would be unimaginable. Planet Suzaku was far from being able to compare to planet Chen Yun. The All-Seer said back then that planet Suzaku was a half-wasted planet. Looking at planet Chen Yun now, Wang Lin believed it without any doubt. After seeing planet Chen Yun, Wang Lin's heart shook violently as if there was a big wave surging inside him. It was like the first time he went to a city before he started cultivating. A deep passion appeared in his heart as he silently looked at planet Chen Yun in the distance. Planet Chen Yun. Wang Lin, I'm coming, he muttered to himself. Wang Lin took a deep breath but didn't walk forward, he actually took a step back. His entire body along with the silver dragon suddenly backed away. 3 days later, he arrived near a small, deserted planet. Wang Lin's body shook and his original body came out. The original body flew away as soon as it came out. It burrowed deep into the core of the deserted planet and began to cultivate. There were many powerful cultivators on planet Chen Yun, and some might realize that his original body is an ancient god. Just in case, Wang Lin left his original body here and then flew toward planet Chen Yun. Planet Chen Yun was surrounded by a layer of green gas. It wasn't dense, but it covered the whole planet. From a distance, the planet looked like it was covered by a thin, green curtain. Inside the green fog were also spots that sparkled like the stars. From the large, purple planet at the center, abundant amount of spiritual energy surged into the green gas, causing it to churn and reveal strange scenes. Wang Lin stopped outside of the green gas. When he looked at the gas, he felt a sense of danger. This green gas contains a destructive force. If I recklessly charge in, I will constantly be attacked by it. I wonder what rank this planet is to have such a powerful formation. And the 5 smaller planets around it all have their own formations as well, not to mention the even smaller planets farther away. As Wang Lin pondered, his eyes suddenly lit up, then he backed away 1,000 feet and looked at the green gas with a serious expression. The green gas moved as if there was a pair of giant hands moving it. The gas was split apart by this force. At the same time, a young man wearing a black gown came out. His looks were average and his eyes were calm as he looked at Wang Lin and asked, "Do you have a diplomatic message?" Although his speech was calm, his eyes were calm, and his entire person exuded a modest feeling. The combination of all of this gave people a sense of arrogance even stronger than those that displayed it outright. His arrogance no longer needed to be displayed because it had been engraved into his bones. Wang Lin looked at the person and shook his head. "I don't have one." The young man's expression remained the same as he calmly asked, "Do you have an invitation?" Wang Lin pondered a bit and then shook his head again. The young man looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Since you don't have a diplomatic message nor an invitation, please leave." With that, he turned around and walked back into the green gas. As he entered, the green gas slowly closed. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "I'm looking for Senior All-Seer." The young man stopped, then he turned around and looked at Wang Lin. His gaze became strange and after a short while he asked, "You came from planet Suzaku?" Wang Lin was startled. He looked at the young man and nodded. The young man revealed a strange smile, then he waved his hand and the surrounding green gas began to churn violently. It formed dragon-like tentacles that intertwined with each other and charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were calm. He put away the star compass and took a step forward. The dragon-like tentacles fused together as they approached Wang Lin to form a green flying sword. Wang Lin then stepped onto the sword hilt. "Many thanks." Wang Lin's expression remained the same and he clasped his hands. The mysterious light in young man's eyes became even stronger. He looked at Wang Lin and then at the sword hilt before bowing and saying, "Go inside. Senior All-Seer has waited a long time for you." After this person finished speaking, the green gas split apart, forming a deep tunnel leading to the planet. Wang Lin's body didn't move, but the green sword under him moved and flew him toward planet Qianyun. As he flew, Wang Lin began to ponder. This person knew that I came from planet Suzaku and said that Senior All-Seer has been waiting for me. Could this Senior All-Seer really have a spell that lets him see through the heavens and earth and calculate that I'll come? If that is the case, Senior's spell is heavenly. As Wang Lin pondered, the flying sword under him quickly flew toward planet Qianyun. Shortly after, planet Qianyun became larger and soon, the flying sword flew him into the planet. The wind pressure from the atmosphere blew at his face like sharp knives, but the sword under him emitted a gentle glow that kept the pressure down to a certain degree. Wang Lin was surrounded by a green light as he was brought through the atmosphere in an instant and entered planet Qianyun. From the air, Wang Lin saw that most of the planet's surface was covered by purple plants. These plants' leaves were moved by the wind and created waves of rustling sounds. A feeling of unfamiliarity appeared in his heart. He let out a sigh and quickly flew off into the distance. The sword created by the green gas was not under Wang Lin's control, it was flying on its own to bring Wang Lin to the Heavenly Fate sect. Their entry point wasn't far from the sect, so after only 3 incense sticks of time, the Heavenly Fate sect appeared before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he jumped off the green sword and landed on the ground. The green sword disappeared in the blink of an eye. This video will end here.